Hi, I'm Masha Ulanova, and I am a capacity planning engineer for ComEd. ComEd makes sure that the electricity or power is delivered to the people. But where does that power come from? In this lesson, we're going to be taking a closer look at energy sources that can be used to generate the electricity we use to power our homes and businesses, to heat our homes, cook our food, and even power our vehicles. Energy is defined as power used over a sustained period of time. It is the ability to produce change or do work, and that work can be divided into several main tasks we can easily recognize. For example, energy produces light, heat, motion, sound, growth, and powers our technology. People have always used energy to do work for them. Humans burned wood to provide light, heat their living spaces, and cook their food. People use the wind to move their boats from place to place, and today people use more energy than ever from a variety of sources for many different tasks. Our homes are comfortable and full of useful and entertaining electrical devices. We communicate instantaneously in many ways. We live longer, healthier lives. We travel the world, or at least see it on TV. Major energy sources we use today can be classified into two groups: non-renewable and renewable. Non-renewable energy sources include coal, petroleum, natural gas, and propane. They can be used to generate electricity, to heat our homes, to move our cars, and to manufacture products from candy bars to cell phones. These energy sources are called non-renewable because they cannot be replenished in a short period of time. These resources took hundreds of thousands, even hundreds of millions of years to form into the sources that provide us enough power for our daily tasks. Renewable energy sources include biomass, geothermal, hydropower, solar power, and wind. They are called renewable energy sources because their supplies are replenished in a short amount of time. Day after day, the sun shines, the wind blows, the rivers flow, and these energy sources continue generating more. Another exciting thing about renewable energy is that it typically uses less carbon than most kinds of non-renewable energy. That's really important when we start to think about climate change, when we consider that carbon emissions are the main factor. We use renewable energy sources mainly to make electricity. Every day, the average American uses about as much energy as is stored in a little more than 7 gallons of gasoline. That's every person, every day. Over a course of 1 year, the sum of the energy is equal to a little more than 2,500 gallons of gasoline per person. Using energy is also called energy consumption. To get us thinking about our energy use and how renewable and non-renewable sources play a part in our daily energy consumption, we're going to play a game called Candy Collector. For this game, you'll need 2 types of candy. Be sure to keep small candies out of the reach of small children. I'm using M&Ms and jelly beans today. You'll also need a straw for each person you're going to be playing the game with, 3 bowls or plates, and this game works best with small groups of up to 4 people. Now let's imagine that we're trying to recover or take energy away from the earth to use in my neighborhood to do things like turn our lights on. I'm going to start with 50 M&Ms in my first bowl, which represents energy from the earth. So I'm going to pretend as if my 50 M&Ms are the energy that I could possibly recover. I'm going to use only my straw, not my hands, to try and recover energy for 1 year. But for the game's sake, a year will be 15 seconds. I will transfer any energy I can from the earth to my energy recovery tank, like so. After 15 seconds, I'll stop, take a count of what I recovered, and mark it down on my graph. For the purposes of this video, I will be making my graph using Excel, but at home, you can use paper and pen. After I mark it on my graph, I'll move any candy from the recovery tank to the discard tank, because that energy has been consumed by people in my neighborhood, and I can't get any more. Now we're going to do year 1 of using non-renewable energy sources together and see how much energy we can consume. So, starting my timer for 15 seconds, let's see how much energy we can consume. and that's it. So, let's see how many we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We got 7 M&Ms in our energy recovery tank. Now that we have marked our year 1 results in our graph, we are then going to move all of our M&Ms from our recovery tank over to our discarded tank, as we can no longer use that energy as it's a non-renewable energy source. I'm going to keep recovering and discarding energy for 3 more years and continue graphing what I've recovered. I can probably also predict how many more years my energy will last for my neighbors. So after 4 years have passed, place all of your candy back into the original bowl or plate. Let's start a second round. This time I realize I only need a small amount of energy per person in my neighborhood, and we have discovered new energy sources. So we're going to place 3 jelly beans into our bowl with the 50 M&Ms to represent our new sources of energy. All right, so I have 3 jelly beans, a pink one, multicolor, and a blue one. We're going to recover our energy in the same way, but we only need to recover 2 pieces of candy in the 15 seconds. If you're working with a family member, you'll need to make sure you recover enough M&Ms in the 15 seconds so that there are 2 per person in your recovery tank. For this new round, we'll make a new graph, and after each round, discard the M&Ms. However, the jelly beans can be returned to the original bowl, Earth, for the next year's energy recovery and consumption. This represents renewable energy. So for round 2, this is what you'll be doing. Once you and your team have completed the 4 years of round 2, it's time to share your work with ComEd. Submit a video to stemneverstops@comed.com that shares your graph and answers the following questions. How long would your energy last using round 1 rules? Predict how long would your energy last using round 2 rules. Using what you learned in this activity, define the term renewable energy source. Using what you learned in this activity, define the term non-renewable energy source. Which candy represents renewable energy sources? Describe a challenge or problem you experienced in this activity and relate it to energy use in the real world. Be sure to include your parent or guardian in the email address line of your video submission to ComEd. Have fun collecting your candy energy!